Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Fatal 12. I'm Grandmaster Shaymin. In the last episode, things got pretty intense as our final battle with you ended up with a pretty intense ending. So make sure if you haven't checked out that last episode to go back and do that. But here we are as Parka is introducing us to the Court of Fate. The next thing I hear when I regain consciousness is the ever-haughty voice. Goodness me, you certainly look subpar. I lost consciousness on the train due to the heat and smoke. The fact that I'm in the Court of Fate means this week's election has started. I got on the train before noon, so that means I must have been out cold for at least 12 hours. What happened to my physical body? Is it in a hospital somewhere? Alex and Odette look unfazed as always. Odette even has the luxury of yawning. Odd, considering you can't actually be tired in the dream world. Meanwhile, Scale lets out a dramatic sigh. I'm not really sure what he's thinking based on his ambiguous expression. As for Federico, he seems awfully restless. He's tapping his finger and tutting. I don't know how things stand between them, so all I can do is based on what I see. At the very least, Odette's probably still working on her own. Ellipses. Miharu seems somewhat relieved after giving me a quick once-over. Maybe she's learned I collapsed in the train somehow. Her not saying anything probably means she's still cooperating with the others under the pretense that we're no longer friends. So, you... I turn my attention to number 4. There you stands, unscathed. Based on this and Federico's case, I have to assume that our state in the real world truly is not reflected in the dream world. An odd sense of relief washes over me when I see him like this. I'm not sure why, considering I'm about to elect him. I open up my card book. All the cards in my possession fly out upon me doing so, including the most recent one I gained. Number 4, Regret. Use Regret card. Things seem to have grown a touch gloomy around here, no? I do hope that there's something I can do to cheer it up. Oh, good. How about our lovely goddess signs us a little ditty? Don't waste your time. Let's just get started already. Not like I'm gonna elect someone tonight, right? Gosh, shut it. Same goes for you, doesn't it? I wonder. Federico frowns at the response of Odette's hearty grin. You'd have a hard time not being gloomy if you were counted among us as participant, too. Can't deny that I'd like to hear our little goddess sing for us, though. Haha. Just get started already. Alan directs his comment toward Parka, making his discontent obvious. There's an oddly functional flow to the conversations, now that most of us know each other. It's different from when Divine Selection first began. That fact scares me. Oh, what a shame! My efforts to learn the songs you people know all for naught. How did you go about learning them? Are you curious? Yeah, I most certainly am. Odette isn't joking. I can tell she's serious based on her tone of voice. I've spoken to her in person, so I know. It may sound inconsequential, but she's looking to get something out of Parka. I'm afraid I'm going to have to keep you in the dark on that one. A lady is only charming as the number of secrets she holds, no? Her voice and words make her sound mischievous, much like a regular child even. Can we get on with this? Yu's tone is sharp and it's cold. It's obvious he cares little for Parka. Now, no need to be so hasty, though I must admit perhaps I spoke a bit too much tonight. Allow me to begin tonight's election. Revolve, O Clock of Fate. Her stock phrase signals the beginning of tonight's election. The clock hand at the center of the Court of Fate begins to revolve. Nothing she does is any different from normal, but tonight sounds completely different to me. The reason why is simple. Tonight is the first night I elect somebody. But I'm conflicted over what to do even now. Electing someone is the same as stripping away their right to live. It's no different from killing them. Yu's pain voice comes to mind, his heartfelt cry to the world, his battle with the contradiction born within him. I glance over at him once again. He looks like an average boy right now, hardly capable of terrorism. Just eliminate him already, goddammit! The wild look he showed before is gone now. In fact, he seems to be at peace. Is he ready to be elected? Does he feel relieved that he's finally being freed from his suffering? I can't tell where I stand. Ellipses. He doesn't bother to say anything to me. Well, number 1, She inquires as if if she knows exactly what's going through my mind, as if she knows I'm about to elect you. It makes sense since she's observing the events that happen in the real world. How she does that, I'm not sure, but that's not how it matters right now. I can't finish my sentence. I thought I was ready to accept the responsibility for throwing another person's life away on my own. God, I just can't say it. Are you really? It's a simple question, my dear. Will you elect someone or not? Why did I go everything to obtain use regret card? I feel like I'll forget at this rate. But even so, shall I presume your answer is a no? Wait. Naomi's face comes to mind. Yu's actions will be undone with his elimination. That means what happened at Emeka will also be undone. If that can happen, then Naomi will... Pull yourself together, Rinka. I mutter my own name under my breath. That's not a good reason. I can't shoulder anything together if I can't let such thoughts spur my actions. I just be using her as an excuse for my own weakness. I remind myself to make a decision based solely on my own judgment. If I'm going to eliminate him, it's because I chose to. My own regret comes to mind. I swore that I would live my life out. I'm going to elect someone. Oh, well then. I straighten my back and regain my posture. My eyes fall directly on Yu following that. He still has the same gentle expression from before. It's the same expression from back when we first ate the dinner I made for him. Even so, I elect number 4. I have to utter those words, no matter what. Very well, Parka proceeds to question the other participants. I almost break out in a sweat when Odette's turn comes and goes without incident. That would have been a moment I got elected if I had given in to her demands Friday. In the end, the clock doesn't stop at anyone else. I'm the only one electing someone tonight. With that decided, number 1 and number 4, allow me to begin the election procedure. The platform begins to move in tandem with her statement. Yu's platform does the same. Both of us ascend to the upper sanctum of the Court of Fate. Finally, Rinka's eliminating someone. I gotta say, it's kind of intense. It's an odd sensation, to say the least. The way my platform ascends almost feels like I'm on an elevator. There aren't any walls around to support it, but it somehow feels like I can't actually fall off it. That's how smooth and steady the ascent feels. I'm surrounded by unfamiliar scenery once the platform stops, much like I'm perched high above the clouds. There's nothing but darkness below. I can't see Miharu or any of the other participants from here. Yu, on the other hand, stands directly across from me. You finally decided to kill me. Yeah. You're finally gonna set me free from my pain. Not quite. Only you can save yourself. Apologies for the wait. Let us commence the election process, shall we? Wait a minute. What's that supposed to mean, Rinka? I thought you were going to kill me and help me. Parka urges us on, so I open up my card book. All the cards fly out the moment I do. It seems like I need to pick the relevant ones in order. Your name is Yu, a name given to you by Shingetsugu, so I'm aware of how important it is to you. It's a lovely name. Fire was the cause of your death, a cause oddly intertwined with my own. If I'm being honest, I hated you for it before, but now I just feel sad about it. I pick his name card and death card in succession. How about you forgive yourself already? Huh? I can't forgive you after you took Naomi's life. That being said, neither will anyone else if you keep denying yourself. You're no puppet, much less a hero. What you are is as human as they come. That's the best I can do for him. When it all began, the words I left him with before dying stuck with him the entire time. As such, he had no choice but to deny both himself and his past. I lost my parents not long after being born, so one could argue that I should have tried harder to understand you in your position. But the lives we led were far too different. I grew up providing for those around me, whereas you grew up taking from those around you. And after all that, you met Shingetsugu. You learned the joy of providing for another, and the possibilities it could open up for you. The possibility of leading a normal life, not by your own standards, but by those of the people like Shingetsugu and myself. That's what became your regret. All 3 cards of his shine in my hand. That's why it was so hard for you, wasn't it? You were simply handed that new life. You never knew how to attain it on your own. That led you to denying the very concept of it. I won't forgive you. I finally understand why we'll never understand one another. It's because we both started out the same. It's almost too cruel how things turned out. I'll be able to die a human at least. That's normal, isn't it? Yeah. All three of my cards begin to move on their own. Once they reach the middle of the Court of Fate, they come together and form a triangular shape. I'm interested to see if it shows him strangling Rinka. I mean, obviously it probably won't be a picture of it, but like, if it explains that. Because if someone else had eliminated him, then we would have been a big pile of shit, wouldn't we? Follows in a sudden burst of light and swallows my surroundings. I'm glad I settled on you as the person to kill me. Oddly enough, our regrets are the same to an extent. Both involve the concept of living regular lives. The value we held surrounding them are completely different, though. For me, it's about all what I already knew. For him, it's about what he had come to know. I can resent you all I want. In death. You and me both. The light from my cards envelops us both. It's bright enough that I involuntarily squeeze my eyes shut, only to notice my consciousness leaving my body. Wanna die. I hear a voice during this. I don't want to die. I don't want to. I could have lived a normal life. I don't want to die. No, please, no. Rinka, Shingetsugu, Mama, I don't want to die. I still had so much of my life left. Wow, his voice becomes more and more distant. All I can do is listen. I listen to him reveal his true feelings then and there during his final moments. Flames envelop me. Ah, so we're reusing this picture, eh? That's fine. I mean, it's a really good picture. It's really sad, but this is a sight I recognize. It's almost the exact same scenery I witnessed when I died, after all. The line of sight is much lower than usual, though. And then I realized it. It was from Yu's perspective. He was sitting down after having crushed my throat. I'm human, I am. His lungs had almost lost their function. His skin was charred. His very cells had been obliterated. And now I'm a hero. His words fell on deaf ears. This is how it should be. As much as he tried to breathe, his blood refused to carry the oxygen. Not like the air could even reach his lungs at this point. Right, Mama? It was doubtful that he could even speak properly at this point. It wasn't a concern of his, though. He just did everything he could to speak his last words. He did it to convince himself, to reassure himself. It's not. But that effect didn't last long. I don't want to die. His lungs were shot. He couldn't speak anymore. I don't want to die. Help! Help! That's why those ended up being his final words. He unleashed one final scream, marred with the regret and repentance. His vision was dyed red following that. The flames burned away the contradiction and sins he bore. That's one hell of a way to go out, dude. If he had just born in different circumstances. Those were Yu's final moments, weren't they? You had already disappeared by this point. His final words to me were full of resentment. That's fine by me, though. I had everything he lacked, everything he ever wanted, and yet I still find myself clenching my fists. In an afterlife, if an afterlife really does exist, then at the very least I can pray that it's a place where our growths during divine selection aren't forgotten. It might be even more painful for him, knowing what we consider to be a normal life might cause him to panic and question himself. So long as he has the freedom to figure things out, he should be fine. Funny that I think of such things when I don't believe in God or heaven. You and me both, sister. Oh, how impressive for you to say that in the presence of a goddess. Shut up. Shut up, Parka. Oh my, how scary. Allow me to show you the cards in number 4's possession. Please consider what you'd like to obtain as you descend. My platform begins to move, not even giving me enough time to get sentimental over Yu's elimination. I can bring Naomi back now. Not even that thought prevents me from feeling miserable. I have all of these already. Parka told me to choose whichever card I wanted, but Yu doesn't have any I can take. Just those I already have are ones belong to those who have been eliminated. The ones I already have are number 2 and number 9's names. Miharu and Scale Johnson's cards. It makes it obvious how little interest you had in the divine selection. Thus, my very first election comes to an end. It doesn't feel very special. If anything, it only served to put a greater burden on my shoulders. Tonight's session resulted in one elimination. I bid you all farewell for now. I look over at the empty platform in which you once stood. I don't look at it as just a platform, though. Number 5, Shingetsugu's platform. Number 8, Keiko's platform. Number 10, Sonia's platform. And even the platforms of number 6 and 7, which belong to people I never got to know. I find myself brooding over each and every one of them. 7 weeks down. But you's been eliminated. The fog in my... Though I feel like it's interesting. I feel like you should have chose one anyway. Right? Choose, like, number 9's name card. Or... I don't know, something. Because... the fact is, like, when you take nothing, it means that, oh, well, you already know everything that she has. Oh, man, what do you know? You might have a bunch of cards. It might be a little bit more than just setting number 9 on your tail for having his name card. You know what I'm saying? The fog in my consciousness gradually begins to dissipate. I sense someone nearby. Alright, I'm going to save right here. Quick save. Number 2. I want to go for Miharu. Ooh, but Naomi? Is there a wrong choice here? I mean, I don't know if there's a wrong choice here. I want to say Miharu because I feel like that would make sense, but Naomi would be like, oh my god, maybe Naomi's, alive. It's been so long. Fuck. Let's go with Naomi. Naomi? Oh, shit. It was Miharu. God damn it! I'm gonna switch back just in case something went wrong. Let's just load this save. Because yeah, Miharu. Miharu? I'd like to believe I heard right. He'd be incredibly happy if so, hee. Whoa! What is she doing in the house? How did she get inside the building? Is that not weird? You wake up and Miharu's not only is she already here, but she's in your house. Good morning, Rinka. I gotta say, I love her gloves. I want to get myself a pair of those. Huh? Why are you here? The first thing I see upon waking up is Miharu. She's in her school uniform all ready to go. That's a simple question. I'm the one who carried you back out from the train. Figures. Okay, that makes sense now. But my first thing would be, holy shit, why are you here? Okay. The press would have swarmed you if I had took you to the hospital, especially when they figured out you were a student at a mecha high. I couldn't let you go through that. I figured the world would do its thing after a day passed, so it wasn't all that bad. How did you know I was on the Yamanote line? My little alliance with Scale and them proved to be useful. I'm still not sure if they're trustworthy or not, but Scale's intel was spot on at least. She slips in an extra comment about how she should have made her way over quicker. Did you spend all night by my side? I did have to go home and fetch my things, but yes, I couldn't leave you alone in this state. That's a relief to hear. Thank you. That's my line, you know. Well, I got to see you were okay in the Court of Fate. Part of me was still worried that you wouldn't wake up again. I'm not really sure what went on while I was unconscious, but it looks like she did what she could to keep me out of trouble. And here I was worrying about the possibility of my real body being taken to a hospital. Waking up in my own room helps me to settle down a bit. I'm a bit sore all around, but other than that, I seem to be fine. Thus, the only thing left for me to worry about. You must be wondering how things have changed.
Yu's actions had a big influence on the world at large, but things right now are different from what took place. I haven't had the time to figure it all out, but I can tell you what I know so far. But you should get ready for school first. We should have plenty of time, but the explanation will take a while.
Following her advice, I get ready and make my way downstairs. It should be easier to talk things out down there. As always, I make some coffee for the both of us. There's still an hour left before we have to leave, so I guess I woke up early thanks to all the rest I got.
It's been quite a while since we last got together like this.
Ever since I lost the will to go on. And it's thanks to Mao coming over and the idea of you doing all you could to get me back on track.
I can hardly blame you. Besides, I may have done all I could, but you were the one who accomplished what you set out to do in the end.
Naomi's death. That's gotta be what she's talking about. Miharu takes a deep breath before she starts.
First and foremost, yesterday's incident. It became a cause of sudden combustion due to unknown circumstances. A lack of proper maintenance on the rail lines and deterioration over time, I guess. In the case of Tokyo Tower, the case of Tokyo Tower has been completely undone, it seems. Who knows what happened to the memories of all those who watched you stream? It's entirely possible that there will be cases like Naomi who still dream about the events that were undone. We're best off asking Mao. She's likely to have watched the stream than not. Based on that, we can surmise while Yu's actions themselves have disappeared, the physical changes caused by them remain.
Just like with Keiko, the letter she gave me as it was an example of that. What she had written disappeared after the elimination. The action of her writing the letter had been undone. I had a bad feeling about this. If this changes Naomi's body are classified as a physical change, then...
Don't tell me. Calm down, let me explain things in order. Going back further, it turns out that the major players of Null's Japanese branch were all arrested after reports of suspicious objects being found in Shibuya. That occurred after Yu's initial attack on the Yamamoto line had been undone by divine selection.
The organization itself had already been reaching a breaking point, and then one of their operations failed and resulted in the disappearance of a perpetrator. That led to an insider leaking information and causing them all to get arrested.
That's been undone too. Rather, the timing itself has changed. They were arrested right after Golden Week, which just so happens to coincide with the casualty juncture. All of this due to the insider leaking information out of fear of what a young member of theirs had done.
So the attack itself actually happened. Yu's cause of death had become a reality once more. That means he's already dead at this current point of time.
His attack only resulted in a few injuries, though. The only one to die during it was the boy himself, who I refer to as such because he hadn't been given the name Yu at that point.
Makes sense considering I'm alive. If my memory of the incident isn't right, though, other people died along with me, so something doesn't add up. The explosion took place in the middle of a packed train. The only way no casualties would emerge from that is through a miracle. Granted, you could probably call divine selection in its alteration to fate a type of miracle.
That's likely due to you. Fate had to force its hand to keep you alive, I'd assume.
So if I die, then... The sea of flames pop into my mind once more. Her theory makes sense. All the same, that's not what I'm interested in right now. I've made it to the point to settle things with fate. I want to know the results.
So what happened to the attack on Ameka?
I hear myself gulp in anticipation. I had a bad feeling about this, but I also don't doubt myself. If I do, then...
The attack on Ameka the day of the cultural festival has been undone. However, the classroom being used for storage for the festival burst out in flames in exchange.
Wait a minute. If something still happened, then... My breathing grows all ragged all of a sudden. It feels like my heart is completely stopped.
Even though that happened, there were no casualties.
Then, my pulse returns to normal when I hear that. The sudden fluctuation leaves me a bit lightheaded. If there were no casualties, then Naomi didn't lose her life, which means she's alive. Naomi's alive! Miharu seems less than enthused, though. It doesn't take long for me to figure out why.
The fire still happened, so it's entirely possible that she was left badly burned or suffering from other complications. The news didn't go into detail. And well, it's a bit pathetic of me, but I'm a touch scared to learn the truth. I didn't have it in me to call either Mao or Naomi, just in case something happened. I wasn't even sure how to ask them because I still don't know the results of your efforts.
Is that it? You don't need to worry about that. As long as she's alive, I'm sure she's happy.
You really are strong-willed, aren't you?
Not at all. I would never be able to do this without the help of others.
I won't challenge that line of thinking, even if you had help to confirm the fact that you're the one who deserves to live through all of this.
That's not quite right. That's not quite the right way to put it. Miharu reacts by giving me a puzzled look. I decide to explain myself. It's not about who deserves to live. It's about who has the will to do so.
So I take it you're determined to live through this now?
Yes. I have no issue embracing that desire now. There's one more thing I've decided on besides that, though. It's the possibility that Sonia told us about. The one I'd forgotten thanks to everything that happened with Naomi. Let me say this loud and clear, Miharu. Both of us are going to...
Meow.
Come on, read the atmosphere. Just as I'm about to give Miharu a big determined speech, a listless voice interrupts. It's none other than Leith, of course. Pretty unusual to see it walking around in the morning. It makes its way over to the table we're sitting on before planting once more.
Why, hello, I believe this is our first meeting.
Is it really?
I've heard you talk about your cat plenty, but doesn't it feel like the first time?
There goes all my energy.
That's enough for now. You should take this chance to settle down after all that you've gone through, but I must say...
Something up with Leith?
The cat's name is Leith, right? It sounds awfully familiar for some reason. Perhaps I'm just taken about how unusual the name is. Do you mind if I pet it?
Huh? I thought you weren't good with animals.
Well, I don't really like them. Even so, the cat's probably supporting you along the way. In that case, it only makes sense I show it some gratitude.
Miharu extends her hand towards Leith, nice and slow. You can tell she's not used to dealing with them. Come on now, no need to worry. Yikes! It's not often that you get to hear Miharu shout in surprise. It has me grinning at first, but I come to regret that pretty quickly. Miharu! She falls over her chair before she can pet Leith and crashes to the floor.
Are you okay? Sorry, I shouldn't have egged you on. Oh, it's not your fault. I just got dizzy when I reached down and ended up falling on my face.
I help her back up to the chair. Her body's far more slender than I imagined, but it's also so soft.
What in the world happened?
Maybe your body's just instinctively trying to avoid animals. Come here, Leith. Let me give you some food and water.
Meow.
There's definitely something with Leith and the dream world. There has to be some sort of connection there. The smell of food seems to do the trick as Leith meanders off to the backyard.
Sorry about that, I'm fine. Getting back to Tarmac, the gist of things is that we don't know how Naomi is until we see her.
Right, you got up way earlier than me to check that all out, huh? I'm grateful. I'm satisfied just knowing she's alive.
Seeing you smile satisfies me too. You should probably head to school soon, though.
We both make our way to school once I've washed the mugs we used. Oh yeah, what happened with school anyway? Hopefully fate didn't make it so that we skipped a whole week.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. It was closed the week after the fire incident, so not much of the events we went through.
Good to hear. Let's get going then. We take in the clear blue sky as we walk toward Mecca. Phew, ain't nothing more tiring than being back at school after a week off. I must have spent half the time sleeping. So you just did the same thing you always do. Gotta admit, I think they went way overboard closing it for a whole week. I was starting to get bored out of my skull. The two were toiling away. You two were toiling away when I wanted to do stuff too. Seems like the world has changed things up after all. The pivotal moment I shared with Mao has been undone. And that was my first time I'd ever seen her cry. But now I'm the only one who knows just how strong and compassionate she can be. I'm pretty sure Lionhouse was closed all week, so I can only assume I lied to her about working. I guess I should check last week's bills and stuff when I get back. Oh crap. I need to get in touch with Gran as well. Chances are I haven't done so in a while. I can't help but smirk as I remember all this. Well, I guess Naorin's had it roughest. Oh, I make sure to give a vague reaction. Mao follows up. She wasn't hurt or anything, but the press is all over her because she saw the whole thing happen firsthand. The school took initiative to keep them away from her, but that didn't stop them from trying to track her down every now and again.
She wasn't hurt?
A shame the festival ended after just one day after she worked so hard for it. Can't fault their decision, but they could have postponed it instead of outright canceling it. Maybe you can hire Naomi to work at Lion House. Holy crap, I might be a genius. Mao's words are going in one ear and out the other at this point. Mao isn't part of Divine Selection, so hearing her say Naomi's fine has me over the moon. Rennie?
Sorry, I kinda spaced out.
Whatever. Good to see that I ain't the only one in holiday mood. We should probably grab some food that...
Rinka.
A voice rings out just as Mao urges me toward the cafeteria. A voice that hits me like a ton of bricks. It feels like I've almost lost all the strength in my body. It doesn't last long, however. I find myself straightening towards the source of the voice immediately. Naomi!
What's wrong, Rinka? Thank goodness. It's so good to see you.
Everyone's staring, but I don't care. I run and hug her with everything that I have. Fortunately, my face is buried in her clothes, so no one can see the tears welling up in my eyes.
I'll let this one slide just this once.
Miharu's like, in this like, I'm glad she's back, but man, do I want to be in her position right now. No way, Miharu's not foaming at the mouth? Mao knows about Miharu liking Rinka, so she even made a comment about it.
What's wrong? Did something happen? Sorry, just let me stay like this a bit longer.
Yo, is this a confession?
Don't be ridiculous. Oh well, I get her to leave them be for now.
I spend the next 5 minutes hugging her tight. Most of the time is spent waiting for my tears to recede. Those who don't understand the situation, Mao included, probably assume I've gone off the deep end. Rumors are spread fast, but I don't care.
Thank you for being alive. Thank you.
Saying that is just going to confuse her more, considering she doesn't remember what happened. Even so, I have to say it. I wonder if she's going to have, like, the memory drawbacks, though.
Hello? Sorry for the wait. I happened to bump into Naomi outside.
Miharu and Naomi come to Lion House after school. After I looked into it, turns out I closed the store for a week due to my being ill. I made sure to tell my gran and that it would be open as usual starting tomorrow. Miharu and Naomi saunter over to our usual table. Once there, I sit down next to Miharu. The reason for them both being here is obvious. We're here to fill Naomi in on everything. I wasn't sure how much we should tell her at first, but I think it's best if we reveal everything. It's entirely possible that things could repeat themselves if I keep certain things from her.
This is about Divine Selection, isn't it?
There's no way I could keep this from her. Naomi seems to understand, too. It seems kind of weird seeing Miharu next to Rinka. How much do you remember?
Well, I remember that we spent some time alone talking in the park the day before the festival.
Just the two of you, eh? Miharu's jealous. Naomi gives Miharu a panicked look of apology before turning her attention back to me.
After that, I remember getting caught up in an explosion after I followed you to an empty classroom.
She still remembers who you is, though.
I don't remember anything between that and waking up in the hospital, though. I was told I collapsed from some sort of heat stroke, but that's about it. I figured I miraculously made it out alive, but something didn't add up. I felt like I spent my time reading books and such during the school's closure, and yet for some reason I can't remember doing so. I even wrote down the book titles I read in my notebook, but I can't recall what they were about. Most telling, however, is how I started having nightmares in which you killed me. They were realistic ones, as realistic as the ones I had about you dying, Rinka. I'm not too sure if those were actual dreams I had or ones I just felt I had.
You should be aware of the meaning behind that by now.
Yes, I died, didn't I? You must have killed me on that day. His actions taken during Divine Selection were undone after his elimination, which includes when he killed me. I see. This is just a theory, but Naomi's memories seem to have been affected more than anyone else's. You've ended up with memories of what happened before, both before and after the world's events changed. There's not much left for us to say based on your understanding of the situation. The last thing we want is for you to remember something as painful as that. Thank you. I appreciate your concern. Also, I hate to ask this, but was it you who eliminated you? It was you who eliminated you, wasn't it? I can't believe you did so much for me. Don't bring that up. It's okay, I assure Miharu before I continue. Miharu's right. You don't need to apologize for any of that. I made the decision to elect him myself. It wasn't easy, though. First, I had to cooperate with other participants, and then they had me use a gun. What? How did things escalate to that point? Naomi stares in awe as I explain the sequence of events. How I worked together with Odette and Alan to prevent the attack on Tokyo Tower. How I witnessed yet another explosion on the train. I go on talking for a while, long enough to where we have a break in the middle of the story. Miharu probably knows the gist of the situation, but this is the first time I've talked to her about it properly. Needless to say, it seems as though she seems almost as surprised as Naomi. Anyway, there's something I want to tell both of you. Whatever could that be? What is it? I've accepted my desire to live. Not only have I learned and felt a lot through divine selection, but I'm also carrying the feelings of others with me. I don't want any of that to go to waste. You finally found the resolution to do what you need, then. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm not about to sacrifice you for that cause. There's no meaning in my life without people like you, Naomi, Mao, and my gran, even Leith. Sonia said if fate can change for the worst, then it can also change for the better. I'm done with being a goody two-shoes. I'm going to change fate so that it suits my needs and not the other way around. I have no idea how to accomplish that, but at the very least I was able to save Naomi so far. That's why I'm going to find a way to make sure both of us last through this. I was well aware I had no leads whatsoever when it comes to how I'll accomplish this. Still, I want my intentions to be clear. It was the first step important towards realizing that desire. Sorry, but I disagree. You realize how slim the odds are of being able to accomplish such a thing, don't you? I figured you'd say that. Such a method exists, then However, your plan requires us two to be the last remaining participants. I figured you'd say that. That's why I'll make sure to find a way before it comes to that. I feel entirely out of place in this discussion. That's not true at all. I asked you to help me once the cultural festival had ended, didn't I? This is my proposal. Let's work together, the three of us, not against the other participants, but against our own fate. I'm finally able to say it. Perhaps I wanted to say this ever since divine selection began. It wasn't possible before. I lacked the resolution required to do so. But things are different now. I've fully accepted my desire to live. Well then, assuming there is a way to pull this off, you can count me in. Likewise, I've been waiting for this. Thanks, you two. Both of them smile at me and I smile back. I'll have to take my leave here. I'm afraid work calls. That said, Miharu makes her way out. Let's not keep things from one another, Miharu. You're not going to work. You're going to meet Scale in them, aren't you? I follow after Miharu as she exits the lion house. I ask Naomi to stay inside before running off, though. I wanted to speak with Miharu alone. Yes, that's right. My priority is to eliminate Odette and Alan with their help. But I'm also going to get as much info as I can on them at the same time so I can eliminate them afterwards. The act of betraying others is inherently evil, but it's imperative. I certainly hope you're not going to chide me for it. I won't. But do you really think you'll be able to pull it off? I'm able to do anything for your sake. You know that's not what I mean. Miharu stares at me in response to my outburst. Sorry, I shouldn't raise my voice, but please hear me out. I'm not against what you're planning. Quite the opposite, really. I don't want to let you do this all on your own anymore. I want you to let me shoulder your burden, much like Naomi did for me. So it's about Naomi again, huh?
Huh? I didn't mean for it to come across that way.
Oh well, I appreciate your concern, but I'll leave it at that. As I said earlier, your plan hinges on us being the last remaining participants. You won't understand unless I say it loud and clear, so listen. You focus on finding out what to do once we reach that point. Leave the other participants to me. You've gotten a bit used to throwing yourself into dangerous situations, especially last time. The fire may not have hurt you in the end, thanks to fate doing its thing. But don't forget that initial internal damage from smoke inhalation and such could have been a possibility. I've seen this plenty of times already, but you're getting far too involved with the other participants. That's why I was glad to hear you say you would stand up to fate itself.
Don't tell me you only agreed to this plan to keep me away from the other participants. Don't you believe that we can beat fate at its own game?
Who knows? Anyway, I need to hurry. I actually do have a shift today, albeit a short one.
I believe what I said. That we can change fate together.
And I believe you. It turns out that my love for you trumps that belief.
Saying that, Miharu makes her way out to the station. There was nothing I can say to her after that. I had no comeback. It's a fact that I lack information on both the other participants and how to ensure our mutual survival. All I'm doing right now is speaking of a scenario I want to see happen. That's why Miharu brushed me off. I doubt she'll only fill me in on the bare minimum like she did previously, at least. Either way, I intend to do things differently as well. I found out how to change fate for us, no matter what. Miharu's already determined to make nothing but progress. She has been ever since Divine Selection began. The same has to apply to me now. I don't want her lying for my own sake anymore. Well, I think that's going to be about it for this episode, so make sure you click that like button down below for me because you already know your support is greatly appreciated, as well as comment in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on Fatal 12 thus far, and hit that subscribe button for future content as we will get ready for the next episode.